So, with that, are there questions? So, here are some of the things that we need to think about. We'll go back to the beginning here. This is my email. If you wanted to send me an email, gpm10@psu.edu. Make sure you put in the subject line boiler project. That way, of all the emails I get, and I get a lot, I know it's you guys. And you'll get an answer a little bit faster. Ms. Quick knows that I'm not the fastest guy on email, but I will try my best with you guys, okay? Now, so let's go back then to the necessary things we need for production. Heat is important, it's the single most important part of incubation, and we're looking for a temperature in a fan-driven incubator to be around 99.5 to 100 degrees. And that will keep the air circulating at a regular rate for chick production. Humidity is around 60 to 65%, depending on where we are. You basically add water to the incubator and it will equalize itself. Turning needs to be done an odd number of times. And the reason for that is that we don't want the embryo to sit in the same spot each month. So an odd number of times every day. So a 3, a 5, a 7, a 9 period turn will help, or cycles of turning is important for embryo development. Because there's actually, if we look at the embryo, there's what we call an animal and vegetable pole, a north and a south to the embryo. And by turning it, it automatically orients itself in the egg on its left side. It lays on its left side, and so its right eye is looking up at you. And that helps with the positioning of the embryo for hatching. So by turning, it helps orient the embryo with the turn of the eggs. And that's very important. Even the shape of the egg is important. When we look at perching birds, is that the 10-minute warning? Okay. So when we look at perching birds, for example, all their eggs look like cones, and that's because the eggs will actually spin in a circle as the hen is rolling the eggs around. With chickens, they tend to look more like golf balls because the hens are laying the eggs on the ground. And so they pretty much, they're not falling out of a tree. And so, but the turning is really important, and you'll actually see the hen kind of raking the eggs over very aggressively in order to keep the eggs moving around to keep the embryos from sticking. And then airflow. Airflow is just to make sure that there's plenty of fresh air moving through the incubator without a loss of temperature. So you try to move as much air as you can without a loss of temperature. So that's the recipe for a successful hatch. Now, if we are looking at success, there's two measures of success. One is the hatch of fertile eggs, which is the number of chicks over the number of fertile eggs set. And that's a percent, okay? Versus fertility. And what did I say, what was that? What would fertility be? Yes? Well, we can turn it around. We can also call it, here, I can turn this on. Hang on a minute. I can do that. That will help you. So fertility is I think I understand what you're saying. I think you're right. It's basically the number of fertile eggs, right? We're going to take it as a positive. The number of fertile over the number of total eggs. and that's a percent too, okay? So what's a good number? If I wanted to be really successful, what number should I be looking for? What should my estimate be? 95% or 100, right? Because in life, in nature, not everything is 100%. We don't fit 100 eggs in and 100 chicks out. There are some losses. For some reason or another, things don't work out. It's the same with people too. We look at fertility rates. In people, it's not going to be 100%, I can assure you. Okay? And then the last thing we look at, hatch of fertile, is hatch of total eggs. Yeah, right. Hatch of total eggs. Okay, and that is the number of chicks to the number of eggs set. And this particular value is a measurement of management efficiency. Okay? So if I give the manager so many eggs, how many chicks can he make out of those eggs? And it takes into account fertility. Simply because if he doesn't have, if he only has 50 eggs that are fertile, and he's getting 50 chicks out, he's actually doing pretty good on hatch of fertile, but he's not making money because he's not getting everything to hatch. And so we use all three of these to look at efficiency within a hatchery. And hatchery business here in this county is big business, multi-million-dollar business. Okay. So there's several hatcheries, in fact, within the county that are doing just this. One I was just at today, Longanecker's Hatchery in Elizabethtown. Okay. Questions? Yes?
This is kind of off topic.
Yeah?
But what makes a chicken have fur instead of feathers?
What makes a what?
A chicken have fur instead of feathers. Like it's like a Chinese chicken.
Okay, so what makes a chicken look like it has fur instead of feathers?
No, like it has fur. Like there's the only thing that's feathers on it is wings.
Well, and I think what you're talking about is a Chinese silkie.
Yeah.
Okay? And they are actually feathers, but they are so fine they look like hair. And the reason is that the feathers are what we call incomplete feathers. They don't have a strong ridge in the middle of them, and they don't hook together like normal flight feathers do on a chicken. And so they're very fine, and they are very, that's why they call them silkies. It feels like silk. But they truly are feathers. If I pulled one out and I gave it to you, you would definitely see some feather structure there. It's just what we call incomplete feathers. They don't lock together in order for the chicken to fly. So they pretty much are flightless ornamental birds. They're highly delicate, they're a high delicacy. There's a lot of people that are raising just flocks of silkies for the live bird market in New York because a lot of people like them. Do you know what color skin a silkie has? Black. It's totally black. So when I bake the bird in an oven and I pull it out, it's black. You think I burned the thing, but it's not. But that's just the natural color of the bird. Most of the birds that we use for broilers are white or yellow skinned birds. And the reason for that is that we have white feathers on a white skin. If we miss a feather, are we going to see it very readily? No. We used to raise red and black feathered birds, and every now and then you would see feathers like pepper all over the bird. So we moved to all white feathered birds. So meat type pheasants, meat type ducks, meat type turkeys, all have white feathers. So if we miss one, we're not losing it. That was a good question. Any other questions?